Alright, hey everybody. So I was asked in the comments to do a comparison on old plow truck versus new plow truck. As you can tell, no real reason to plow snow, but I think this is probably my better way anyway to do this video. Alright, so it's not going to be a total apples to apples because that's a 90 F250 and that is a 17, I believe, Dodge 5500. They're both gas. I don't know that it makes a difference, gas or diesel, to be honest with you. It is what it is. Now, one reason I say this is not going to be a fair comparison is because if you can look across here and see the obvious height and the mold board differences. So that's kind of one thing that now that's also, like I said, just that plow. My Fisher that you guys seen on the backhoe the other day, that's a pretty tall blade itself. So what I'm gonna do is kind of go over different styles and things of that nature. Plowing with that truck is a stick, that's an automatic, so kind of show you that. Obviously cost plays a major thing. Now obviously I didn't buy my truck brand new. I wasn't even born in 90, so I paid, I think, $3,000 for that truck. Actually, no, it was like $2,000. And then I bought a dump insert that I have yet to go get, so keep an eye out for that video. And this truck is a 17, I think he said. I found a sale tag somewhere for it. It was like 45 grand. It's got a gas engine. Not to be a diesel guy, but that thing's a right turd. But I'll patch in a clip here, but one of the much better things about the new plows is you've seen me hook this plow up, and it's not that fun. Not the end of the world, but not fun. Now, I think I had a video moving these plows before, but I'll show you kind of how you hook one of these up too. So what we'll do is, what you need to do with this plow to take it off, and this kind of goes for any plow, but you come in here and turn the key just to accessory. So then to work this plow, you hit your button, and this is a Western plow, like I said, and then you hold that until that green light lights up. That goes for float. And then what you do is you come out and you push down on your lift rod. That lets this whole thing move once you unhook it. I'm not going to fully unhook this plow, but you pull this pin, that falls down. And then you got to, I'm not going to mess with it, but whenever you have it set just right, right now it's kind of sitting on a hot spot, but this pin will lock in. And then obviously you do that on the same side, well, opposite side rather. And then you unplug these two wires, tuck them up in your grill, plug your plow end up into here, and then just back out, and then vice versa. You do the exact opposite. Whenever these feet will come down, they'll hold this up. It can be a pain to get lined up if you're by yourself, but it's not that big a deal. there's ways to go about all that. Now, like I said, I'll put in a clip for this. There's a whole rigmarole to put this plow on. Now what's similar is they're both 9-footers. Not that one's a 7.6, but with the wings it brings it out. I don't have wings on this one. That's not a big deal. Now other things that are, it's kind of nice with this low mold board is I can run these. I don't know if it's legal, but I can run these and I don't have to worry about those lights not shining over. Whereas if you pick this up, those lights hit the back of this plow and you can't see, which is why you got to have those. But that's similarity. I have the harness to put regular lights on this plow. Don't really need them though. Let me get in and kind of show you how to operate this plow and how to operate that plow. So this plow here, like I said, this truck's a stick. Forgive the mess in here, but okay. You gotta have the key on, but you gotta go up and then there's down, and if you leave it locked in down, that's float, and then obviously left and right. Now I'm gonna get out and I will I'll show you the speed at which this plow travels, and I'll show you that one, but I'll do that at the same time. Now I'll fire this up and I'll kind of show you sort of how you work with plowing with a stick, and I'll do the same thing in that truck. I mean, obviously I don't have anything to plow, but so just back up, make sure you're not going to hit anything, and then you drop your plow, put it in first gear, and you just let the clutch out and start pushing. And when you come to the end of your push, your plow should ride up the pile. Now I almost stalled it because I wasn't giving enough power there, but and then you stuff it in reverse. When you're plowing a road, it's essentially the same. I mean, you can shift. It's like driving, you know, you go 1 and 2, but it depends what you're doing. I never plow in low range. I will in that truck on certain occasions, and I'll explain that in a minute. But mainly because that truck is extremely underpowered. Not that this one's not, don't get me wrong. But that truck, I have stalled it. And being that it's an automatic, that should be impossible. But it's not. Now, another thing is I can't give a fair apples to apples push off between the two. And even like the pickups we have, I can't. They're totally different animals. This truck doesn't weigh near what, and even without the spreader, this truck does not weigh what that does. And for sure it doesn't weigh what this truck weighs. It also has different advantages. Like 19.5 tires, they're pretty hard. They're not good in the snow. Those are worn out mud tires that I had on my flatbed. They work pretty good, I will say that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and fire this up too. Okay, so one thing that I will say that's pretty nice with these old, or the newer style plows rather, is just one hand controller. Not a big deal. You can have your hand up here. That's all. It's simple. So obviously this is up, down, left, and right. So the way I plow with this a lot of times is, you know, I drive with this hand, and I'll keep this one in the hand that's in my camera, and then I'll slide my hand over and I'll go down like this when I'm backing out of a pile. So we'll go ahead and, again, I'm using my camera hand, so we'll drop this plow, and then you go into drive and you just step on the gas and you're going away. This is kind of a set it and forget it. So, and then you're at the pile. Normally I lift while I'm coming into the pile, and I also switch gears, go right into reverse. You got to stop. You don't want to be slamming gears around, but right, now here's where I'll show you kind of the differences in speed. I don't know what you would call this pump on this truck other than it's a Western. It's a totally different style, as you can see. It's just a separate pump, and it's got hoses ran to all the rams. And, this one, the pump and the motor are all kind of the same, and so is the lift ram. So let me set this camera down and I'll show you kind of what's the difference in the speed here. Okay, so there you have it. That one's obviously slower. Now you can get different pumps for these. The Westerns, I think, are a lot faster than the Meyer. But they also have one, it's a E60, E58. They have a motor on this side, and it's horizontal rather than vertical. And that makes those pumps are fast. I think they're right on par with one of these. But some things I would like to do to that plow is kind of mount one of these rubber deflectors, but you can see the design difference in the top makes it a lot easier for this plow. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I might just get some stuff and weld it, but you see kind of how this just points straight up. I don't have a flat to mount that to. But they definitely both have their advantages. Like, obviously, if you buy this truck and you're driving around and well, something like that happens, you're not really going to care as much. Whereas if something like this would be to happen, and this is where I got hit last year. Yeah, if I fixed it, the dump body's not as big of a deal, but if that was a pickup or something, it would cost a lot to get that fixed. And obviously most guys aren't going to want to drive around a brand new truck with a caved in bedside, so they've got their advantages and disadvantages both. There's some clear advantages to both. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is run what you like. If you want to run a newer truck, run a newer truck. If you want to run an older truck, run an older truck. Thing is if you're gonna get into just driveways and kind of not really any serious plowing, an old truck will do just fine. Not that it won't if you're into commercial accounts and you need to be there, as long as your truck's good and reliable. If you're gonna get into something like that though, commercial accounts, sometimes the image is better if you show up in something new. Generally, at least in my experience, the newer stuff isn't it's a little more reliable. Not that this truck's giving me any problems other than overheating, but I think that's a lot of just design stuff. This truck is, for intents and purposes, this truck, to be honest, here's where I'm going to go in with opinion on it. This truck should have never been built from the factory ever. It's got a 302 in it. It had a light duty transmission in it. This truck, for what it is an F-150 on an F-250 frame. It had, leaf springs like you can see, and it was 8-lug. There's really no advantage. The frame's a little stiffer on this truck. There's not really an advantage. It's underpowered. It had an M5 OD transmission, which you Ford guys will know. It's geared like a Mustang. I put a ZF5 in there. That's a truck transmission. Made it a lot better, but it's still a turd. It's got 1-ton axles in under it, so Dana 60 and Sterling 10 1/4. So that kind of did a lot to help. But along with this being an F-150, trying to pretend to be an F-250, it had a 2-row radiator in it. Not cool enough. Did not help. So I put I think it was a single row. I put a thicker one in it out of a 460 truck. That helped a lot. Again, the fan clutch. It's not made to move enough air to keep this thing cool while you're plowing, and this plow deflects a lot of air. That one. Those trucks don't ever run hot, but to be honest, we don't drive them very often. They're in the development constantly, so there's some give and take there. In my personal experience with the newer trucks, is they don't overheat often, but there's plenty of other there's plenty of other advantages and disadvantages that I'm sure that I can't think of right now. One being, and it's not so much a problem on these trucks because there's still a lot of them out there, but if you're plowing or whatever and your alternator dies, plows tax the crap out of your alternators. So if something goes wrong with your charging system, you're less likely to walk into AutoZone and they have the alternator, or just using that as an example, a voltage regulator or whatever, they're less likely to have that sitting on the shelf for a 90 F250 than they are for like a 17-year-old or a 2017 Dodge. So there's an advantage and disadvantage right there. That said, I've got enough for these older trucks laying around. It works for me. Also, I'm not into commercial plowing, so if I can't get my driveway done with this truck, I'll take the work truck home. It's not that big a deal. Eventually, I'd like to get another plow truck. It'll be another older Ford like this. More so just so I have a backup, because I would like to get into doing driveways and stuff on the side for extra money, but I don't want to get into anything like parking lots where there's a big commitment. The other thing, the obvious one is these older trucks. You're not going to care as bad whenever this thing gets all rotted up. That truck, it'll rot right to death on you. Who has, 40, 50 grand laying around to go buy a new truck every couple of years because the salt rots it out? So you can run these older trucks and they do just fine. So there's a lot to consider when you're gonna pick something like that, but those are kind of some of my thoughts and opinions and experiences with old trucks versus new trucks. So if you guys like this video, comment down below, give me a thumbs up. I want to take a quick second before I end here and apologize for my editing goof on the last video. I was having some issue editing it. I put one up, I had to take it back down because I ended up with 2 of the same clips. I took it back down, cut the clip out, and apparently I did it twice and didn't realize it, so I put it back up, and that's why there's 2 or